Tom, I think we'd be remiss to not talk about Hey There, Delilah, if that's okay, if we can just kind of just scratch the surface a bit, because this song was an absolute monster hit. But what many people, I think, probably don't realize is that this is a song that was sort of a late bloomer. Like, you guys were on Fearless Records at one point, and you released Hey There, Delilah on, which album was it? The All That We Needed.
Yep, All That We Needed.
And
Yep.
it was sort of, I don't want to say it was ignored, because from what I've read, the fans loved it. But then the song was redone and re-released on your 2006 album, Every Second Counts, which was actually released under another label, Hollywood Records. But it was this time that the song really kind of caught on and caught fire. And basically the rest is history. But what was it about the song that made you guys decide to give it another chance, I guess, or give it another home for the next album?
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to go and just completely fix up that story for you.
Sure, yes,
Um,
please do.
so basically, Hey There Delilah, yeah, we recorded it on Fearless as literally just an acoustic guitar and a vocal for
Yeah.
track 13 on All That We Needed, you know? And so we put out that album, and this song called Take Me Away was the first song that we kind of had as a single. Like, Fearless shopped it a little bit to college radio. They picked it up a little bit. We made a video for it. It was like the first music video we ever made, super fun. And so, that kind of song, they pushed it for a few months, and then it was like, okay, what's next? And we basically went on our MySpace page at the time where we were getting some traction. We had a bunch of followers on MySpace, and we did like a little poll, like, hey, what song do you guys want to see us make a music video for off the new album? And it was literally 98% of the votes came in for Hey There Delilah. So,
Crazy.
yep. So we did. So we
Was that a
made.
surprise to you at that point?
Not really, because I knew that it was, when I wrote the song, I knew like it was good, you know, but I didn't necessarily think it would be a hit. I just thought like, oh, this was like, I'm proud of this song. Like, this is you sit down to write a song all the time, and every once in a while you hit something where you're like, damn, that's cool, or
It
that
felt
feels
special.
exactly. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really did. And we were getting that same kind of feedback from fans. It seemed like people really were attaching to this song. So yeah, so when we did the poll and it came back, Hey There Delilah, it wasn't a big shocker, but it was like,
Okay.
okay, cool, let's do it. And then it was between us and Fearless. The idea was kind of like, oh, maybe we should like beef the song up a little bit. Like I always pictured it like like a ballad, like an Aerosmith ballad, or like, you know,
You were
like
thinking big.
Yesterday, or just something. It's like just something where it had a little bit more than just a guitar and a vocal. A little bit
Kind of
of
like
production.
how kind of like how Time of Your Life by Green Day. They added some strings and whatnot in there.
Totally, exactly. So Fearless was down with it, and so I went into a studio in Chicago with Sean O'Keefe, who's a big local producer. He did all the early Fall Out Boy stuff, Hawthorne
Mm-hmm.
Heights. Um,
Very familiar.
and so me and him just sat in the studio. I added a little bit of like a harmony background vocal thing. We added a little bit of organ in the chorus. And then he got a buddy of his in to come play cello. And it was actually the same guy that played cello for Tonight Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins, which
Oh, cool. What
which
the
was
heck?
super cool. Yeah. And so this guy literally just spent like 48 minutes or something, like in a room with headphones, fucking chain smoking, and just like improving some like cello lines. And so then me and Sean kind of sat there after he left. We paid him for like, I don't know, $200 for his
Oh my
hourly rate
god.
or something, and that was it. And then me and Sean kind of went through his cello parts and like put together like a little cello line. And literally that was it. And we made the video for that version of the song. Like we did it the with strings version, and it was on Fearless. We shot the video for $4,000 or something really cheap, you know.
Wow. Yes.
And yeah, that on Fearless, we ended up selling like 80,000 records of all that we needed, which was ridiculous at that point, like on a tiny indie label, you know. And the video and the song, we won like an MTV award, which was like the MTV college station.
Yep.
You know,
I remember.
it got a bunch of college radio airplay. It was played on Fuse all the time, which was like another MTV kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, it kind of was like a very like an indie hit for us. And like we went to go play in Europe with Hello Goodbye, and the album, the album, we didn't have any albums out in stores in Europe at all at the time. But we'd play Hey There Delilah, and the entire crowd would sing along the whole song.
Amazing.
So it was like because of the internet, because of MySpace, whatever, like the song was really just a truly grassroots, like viral thing that we had no control over. It just
Tom,
spread on its own.
What was that like then? Because you're going to a whole nother country, and these people, they've never seen you before, or you've never seen them before, but they're singing your words back to you, and
yeah,
and that you've never had this before.
I mean, it was freaking, it was wild, you know. It was like, and especially like I said, because the albums weren't even out over there, so it was like literally like the song had that much power, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, that much relatability, that much, I don't know, connectivity, whatever you want to say, that it like literally just did that on its own. Yeah, without like a label couldn't buy that, you know.
May I ask, the Delilah means something to a mass audience. It is a staple for many, many people. But is there a track that is your Delilah, not taking anything away from Delilah, but that you just, it fills your soul and it feeds your need to be a creator? Is there a track in your heart? I'm not taking anything away from something that is just a juggernaut, but I would love to know if there's a track where you're like, man, this, if I don't care if nobody listens to this, this is for me and it's going on an album.
So it's funny you say that, because I've got kind of two answers for you. One, like pretty much every time there's like a new song, you know, it's like,
do you fall in love easy?
Always the most exciting. I mean, I do.
You should. Otherwise, why do you do it, right?
You know,
why do you have to love it?
I mean,
you're
for real,
biggest champion. And if you can't convince somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So every time there's like something new, I'm like, this is it. I did it. Oh my God, you know, like it's just as good as Hey There Delilah at that moment, where it's like, okay, it's like until the, you know, other people hear it, like that's how you really know. Because like I said, when I'm sitting here creating, it's like, yeah, it might as well be Delilah every time, because it just feels that fresh and that like that pure. And then it's like, yeah, you really don't know until you have to play it for other people, you know? And then that's when you're like, ooh, I could have sang that line better. Ooh, that, I don't know if that lyric is that good. Or, you know, it's like you really kind of take I don't know, you become your worst critic as soon as you have to push play.
But how do you stay pure though?
You know?
If you're in that cycle, how do you stay pure, and how do you look at it from a perspective of, I mean, I would think that you have to create it without giving any F's. Like you have to have this vision and create it. But are there voices in the back of your head that stamper that creativity? That maybe you're trying to write just, I mean, I hate to use this as an example, but I think it's very popular right now of, I'm writing this for a person. I'm writing this for a group of people. I'm writing this to be on an Apple commercial. I give two shits. Like, how do you do that?
Well, there's definitely a little bit of like, ooh, our bass player is going to love this part because we can do something, you know, there's definitely a little bit of that, but I don't know. At the same time, I feel like my instincts with that stuff are always wrong too, because like the thing that I turn in that I'm sure Tim, our guitar player, who's like a lyric Nazi, I'm like, oh, Tim's going to love this line. And he's always like, oh yeah, whatever. It's like I'm always wrong about it. But yeah, of course that stuff goes on in my mind while I'm writing. But you have to have a little bit of like, who gives a shit at the same
Yeah.
time. You have to be like, if I think it's cool and I believe in it, then like that's all that counts. And then, like I said, it's like until you play it for other people, it's the fucking greatest song in the world, And then once you get some reaction, then it's like, it doesn't mean it's like shitty, but it's like, oh man,
But then you
not
really find
everybody.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody, or everybody's kind of not feeling this one. Like, god damn, I really thought it was good, but like again, because in the process, you're just, like I said, it's the same process every time, just like Hey There, Delilah. So it's like, it just always feels good. So to answer your question, the newest songs are always the ones I'm the most excited about because they're fresh and they're like that. They're still in that pure form before like people have the chance to judge them. And also, that project I was talking
Yes.
about, Million Miler, it's like a solo project that I'm doing that is literally me, and anything that I want to do. If I think a song is done, if I think a song is cool, it goes, and there's no label or producer or any of the other like middlemen to like to tell me to argue with it for whatever reason. Which, by the way, is kind of how it was back in the day when I was writing Hey There, Delilah, and I was writing those songs. It was much more, creatively my baby, and you know, there's a little bit of like there's fun in that freedom and that purity that I think lends to like just writing. I don't want to say better music, but just like I don't know,
It
yeah,
is
just
better. It's
more
pure.
honest and more
Yeah.
pure.
So to kind of land this, Tom, I did have one question that I just have to ask. So like, and it's in regards to Delilah and basically your music in general, just knowing that your work of art will outlive you. This monstrous hit in Delilah, once the dust has settled on this song, what's it like knowing that you have essentially written a song, in my opinion, that is going and will go down as a classic, right? This song is just one of those songs that will live on forever, and I truly mean this. I feel like it'll live on forever, just like we're listening to Beatles songs. Like we're still going to be listening to this mid 2000s song decades longer than we're listening to it now. How does that? Do you feel anything knowing that? Maybe you don't because you're on the inside looking out and I'm on the outside looking in. So maybe I see it a different way.
There's been a few realizations along the way of like just how crazy that is. Um, like the other day, I'm on like a bit of an 80s kick, as we've been talking about, but like I was listening to the radio, like an 80s station or something, and like Jesse's Girl came on, right? And like, there's hit songs, and then there are like monsters.
That's
Like
where I'm
if I
going.
was to, right, like if I was to tell you, like if I was to name some like random Genesis song, like That's All, does it instantly come up in your mind like, oh yeah, oh dude, that song, oh my God? No. But if you heard it, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course I know this song. It's a fucking great song, whatever. But like when you hear Jesse's Girl, you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what fucking song that is.
Dun dun dun
And
dun dun dun.
right. And I feel like it was like one of those realizations where like, damn, like Hey There, Delilah is one of those like it's not like, oh, I might have heard that one or I think I know that one. It's like you fucking know that song. It's just
Exactly.
weird. And it's weird to think that like, the president of the United States has heard that song. Paul McCartney has heard that song.
Yes. That's
Like
gonna blow your
How about
mind.
this?
it's
They
That's what we
probably
want.
sang along to it.
Yes. It's
right,
like, how is that? Like, what planet are you on?
right.
I have to ask the Kevin Smith question, and I borrow this and I give him full creative license. Did 13-year-old Tom think this would ever happen?
I mean, yes. that's the only way it can happen.
Yes.
I think.
Well, this was your goal all along, right?
Brilliant. That's so brilliant.
Yeah, that's this is I always tell this because my buddy Darren, who's the singer of TLB, we're always like, he's like one of my best friends since high school, and so he's also an artist. He paints. He's fucking a genius, right? But we always have these conversations, and one of the things that I've learned just through the years of doing this and through the successes of Plain White Tees, like, it doesn't ever happen. Like, success never happens by accident. There's never like, oh, I just happened to fucking have this hit song, or I just happened to get famous. Like, think about Kurt Cobain, right? The tortured artist, right? Like, struggling with fame, struggling with everything. Like, that
Homeless the week that Nevermind came out.
Yeah, but that motherfucker got up and tried to look cool for those video shoots. That motherfucker did the Rolling Stone photo shoots and everything, radio and everything that was on his schedule, he fucking showed up to, and he wanted it. That Nirvana wasn't a enormous success on accident. He wanted to be the fucking biggest band in the world, So it's like, as much as people can kind of play it off, or, I'm not saying that he didn't struggle with that fame or that attention that he ended up getting, but my point is it didn't just happen by accident. Like, he worked his fucking ass off to get to that point, So I guess the point is, 13-year-old me was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna be at the Grammys. I'm watching the Grammys every year. Like, yeah, that's gonna be me someday. Like, you gotta think that, or else I don't think you'll ever really get there. You gotta believe it. There's one of the fun facts about Delilah. When I met Delilah, she was about to go back to school in New York, and I gave her a Stop CD, and she was back in New York, and we kept in touch on AIM, and
AOL Instant Messenger for the young crowd out there.
Yes. Which was like, kind of, I mean, what was that like? I don't know. It wasn't text messaging. I mean, it kind of was, but
yeah,
it was
you had to text from a computer, and it was super super awkward unless you're great at typing.
Totally. But you guys, if you remember away messages.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you were, so basically
that was legit.
So Delilah's away messages were like always lyrics from the Stop album. So that's how I knew. I'm like, okay, she's obviously maybe not interested in me, but at least likes my songs or likes, what I'm doing. So that's kind of part of what led me to write that song, like her away messages. So she'd have, like messages from like What If, or like lyrics from What If or something on her away message. And I'm like, okay, it's on,
It's an Easter egg that you can feel in your soul.
Totally.
That's so rad.
Do you happen to stay in touch with Delilah, or no?
We did for a while. And I mean, I think everything, like, if I hit her up, it would be totally cool, but I haven't reached out. Maybe I should, just pandemic stuff, make sure she's doing okay. But I haven't really talked to her in a couple of years.
Yeah. That's got to be such a weird feeling for her too, to know that there's just such a classic song out there that was actually written about her. And I don't know. I feel like that would be just a whole different type of feeling.
It's not as bad as George Harrison's wife, though, because nobody got divorced.
That's true. That's true.
It could be. It could be way worse.
True.
It could be.
Very true. But Tom, I think this is a great place to end it.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your art. Thank you for keeping all of us mentally sane. I can't imagine what it's doing to you, but I just hope that you get the same that we do. And it's just, oh man, it's inspiring. It is.
Thank you,
I'm sure
guys.
You hear it all the time, but there are people that you are changing their lives one track at a time.
No, I mean, that's what it's all about, so I love that. Thank you.